Welcome everyone to an epic conclusion of an epic game. This is Retro Encounter. As always, I'm Josh Curry. With me is Chris Gebauer.
Hello.
And Mike Sollosi.
Hello.
We are here to talk about the concluding hours of South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Yes.
I played the concluding hours of South Park: The Stick of Truth a few hours after recording that previous episode.
Hours after we concluded?
Yes, we recorded that on a Sunday night, and I finished South Park on the wee hours of a Monday morning when I had to leave for work a few hours later. So yeah,
that's awesome.
I was. You could say I was compelled to finish.
It's always better to finish than to not.
Yeah, and my roommate was out of town, so I wasn't bothering anyone.
Nice. So you learned about the farting on someone's balls.
Yeah, so we guessed that right. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, and the one thing that I was a little disappointed about that I guessed wrong was the quote unquote final boss. Mm-hmm. With the zombie Nazi chef was brilliant and perfect,
yes,
and I thought the game was going to end on that, but then the Princess Kenny thing out of nowhere was a little. I don't know. I was a little underwhelmed by that, but the farting on the balls, the Nazi zombie chef, the Mr. Slave's ass basically being the final dungeon.
Oh, it's so
holy
gross.
crap!
It's so hilariously gross.
It's so gross and weird and absurd and totally South Park.
I did not see the ass coming.
I didn't either.
I'm not sure it's even possible to see that coming. We had talked about how
things in said asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Using a vibrator to break down a wall.
and you get the last two Facebook friends by calling on his cell phone that's stuck up there and finding Mr. Hat.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! It was and also you have to do a second abortion mini game on the Snook.
Yep. After you've learned those valuable skills earlier in the game.
I screwed up the abortion mini game the first time in the clinic. It is not easy.
It is really hard.
The first and third segments weren't a problem for me, but the second one, I was always rotating the stick at the wrong speed. Because for those that maybe don't remember or haven't played it, when you do an abortion on Randy, who is, I should say, not a woman, you have to do one mini game where you aim the syringe, one mini game where you sort of stir around by rotating the one of your joysticks, and then a third mini game where you just press left and right at specific prompts. But the second part of it, my PS3 never seemed to think I was at the right speed, so it took me 5 or 6 tries for that second one. But then I think I got the Snook one on the first try because I had made so many mistakes earlier, 90 minutes earlier.
I kept screwing up with the injections at the beginning. I don't know why. That was what I had trouble with, and the other two were fine.
Every time you would press down, it would just move kind of thing.
And it seemed to move really quick. Like it would be like, I'm gonna go here where it's supposed to be, and it's gonna go really slow. And then as soon as you're like all right,
yay.
And it's like,
now you step in the thigh.
Yeah, you have to press it like a second earlier than you think you would.
Yeah.
The timing for those was strange.
I know the timing for the game compared to the TV show is not right, but now playing it today, I was really, really, really upset Randy wasn't Lord.
Yeah, I think we were mentioning last episode that Randy is like one of the secret MVPs of the show because he gets into so many incredible situations, and I think part of it is because he's an adult and the writers can get him into situations that make more sense than getting kids into those situations.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely, he's a very childish adult, but he's incredibly hilarious, and his role in the game was excellent. He's maybe one of the best NPCs for sure.
He provides the best color to the game. Like he's that color commentary on the whole thing. Like he just pops up randomly. He takes a funny situation and makes it just unbelievably hilarious.
God,
Having him earnestly talk about Taco Bell, like, how could they? I don't understand.
Like his whole Taco Bell conspiracy thing, his role in the abortion clinic, and his role in the at the alien spaceship.
The UFO is
just oh god,
the standout for me. Still is just him whistling and singing positive songs to himself while you're walking between rooms, trying to save him from getting.
And
oh god!
I know we mentioned this in the last episode, but when the game is trolling you with those incredibly difficult versions of the anal probe minigame, and you just have to watch Randy's reaction.
Oh no!
Oh man, it's hysterical. Randy is one of the most entertaining characters in this game for sure.
Randy's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
I really enjoyed that he was like. I think you are right. I think in the show he is one of those standout characters, and it makes sense because it's made by the creators. I think if this had been written by anybody else other than the South Park team, I think he's not included as much. And that's where like we talk about it being like a passion project.
Yeah, true extension of the show.
Yeah, they really wanted this to be a great South Park game. And for that to happen, they had to be on the writing staff, and it absolutely did happen.
Right, and that's I think it shines with Randy because I think a lot of people, if you were to make South Park very formulaic, you would hit classical things like you killed Kenny, you bastard. Like it'd be really easy just to be like you have your Cartman phrase, you have this phrase, you have that phrase, you have this happening, and you could phone it in very easily. But to have those extra elements of truly understanding the characters and how they fit in and how they're supposed to be, like, fit into a true South Park story, I think Randy really shows that off in this.
Right,
it's crazy because he's a character that really only became funny and interesting way late into the show.
Yeah, he was a bit of a boring prop in the first couple seasons.
He was just a dad for like this first 6 years. He was just Stan's dad, and then they decided bit by bit, like, we could do some weird shit with this guy.
Yeah, and then, oh man, did they ever.
God, is he awesome.
And also, I mean, it's remarkable that you bring Randy as one of the strong points to this game, and it's absolutely true, but I think there's a remarkable lack of Stan and Kyle in this game. Because you don't really see them until early in day 2, and you only get a lot of commentary and roll with them, or at least more than Cartman or as much as Randy, if you have them in your party often.
Yeah.
It makes sense at some level because it's these two factions that are fighting each other, and you're not always with one faction. But I mean, you probably, if you use Butters often, you probably get more dialogue out of Butters than Stan, Kyle, or Kenny.
And I was going to bring that up is I love Butters. And so when you start off as that's your first party member, I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is a great start. But at the end of the day, Stan and Kyle are my two favorite characters in the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that always kind of bothered me when I went through the first day basically without ever interacting with them. Or I don't think you interact at all, right? Like they're not even mentioned.
I think you're right. They it's not even mentioned that they're the Elf King. It's the Jimmy stuff is in day 1, right? The Bard stuff. Okay, so yeah, they mention. I think he's the only person that is with the elves. The only named kid from the show that is one of the Drow elves is Jimmy. So I sort of assumed. Oh, if they I wonder. Well, at first I thought. I was wondering who the hell head of the Drow Elves might be, because I assumed that Stan and Kyle would be on Cartman's side. But then going on in the first day, it's like, oh, where the hell are Stan and Kyle? Oh, maybe they're the leaders of the elves.
Right.
And yeah, so it's not exactly impressive that I was able to guess that, but it is.
They always butt heads with Cartman, anyways.
But it is unusual that there's relatively little of Stan and Kyle when you could reasonably assume that they might, if you went into this game knowing about South Park but not about the game, you might assume, oh, I bet Stan and Kyle are the main characters.
Right.
But
absolutely.
No, it's not the case at all.
Yeah, and that's a disappointing thing, but it's again, it's one of those things like we're nitpicking to nitpick because overall the game
right.
is so good.
It's just delightful and wonderful.
So.
I I mean, to me, it's just a strengthening of, like you said, that they really understood what's fun about South Park, because they made sure that Cartman is the main narrator, because that's always the best. Because his version of things, when he's describing stuff, like for an opening cutscene, is always just delightful.
I think they must have so much fun writing Cartman because he's basically their id. Like every negative thought those writers have, they can have Cartman say it with like a laugh and a fart,
and then it's fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you have Cartman do the narration, and while everyone loves Stan and Kyle, they are traditionally the more everyman type characters for the show,
and in
with their own
hijinks.
And so you get the hijinks of everyone else. And then, if you want, they're there too, and they're making important decisions, but they don't matter as much.
And, I guess we should mention, whether it was for a gameplay reason or for a story or dialogue reason, do either of you have a favorite, I think they called them buddies officially, a favorite buddy or companion or party member, for, like, through the latter part of the game?
Stan.
Yeah.
Stan was just a tank in terms of damage.
That's why I did.
So, I
For me,
and I
it was
love
Kyle.
that with his dog. It would be. I see that, and that those are the two that for the second half. I agree they're the best, and I just love that it was the Red Rocket.
Yeah,
Red Rocket.
Well, I mean, I played the tank class, so I had a.
So you had that.
Yeah, so I was able to have a little bit more freedom, and I mostly used Kyle because his free action gives you an attack boost, and his arrows move does a ton of damage even if you screw up the minigame, which I aced that minigame maybe twice the whole game. And
some are weird.
Yeah,
Jimmies are weird for me.
I never even used them. Not once.
I just wanted to try him out for a while early on.
He was all right. He gives you some boosts, but like his are more like defensive, and who cares about that?
Yeah, exactly.
And with Butters, I think he's great on the first day because having a free heal is awesome.
Perfect for the first day.
But by the end of the game, you have a zillion healing items, so you don't need him. So then you bring in Butters to be Professor Chaos.
Yep. And then just do fun abilities.
One of the best moves of the game.
I mentioned this last game.
Was great.
I had the regen every time I had an action. So it became a point that as long as I didn't get killed during the enemy's turn, I probably was going to get almost all of my health back, or a large portion of it back. And so then,
because they give you so many healing items, and they let you use one for free.
I didn't even have to use my healing items though, because I did the health for the.
Oh yeah, you had a regen heavy build.
Yeah. And so every time I touched somebody or did an action, I was getting back hundreds of health. So then you do the quick attacks where you're doing 3, 4, 5 attacks. It's like, all right, well that's 1,000. That's 1,500 health back, easy.
Yeah, my strategy was a little different. I mean, I had a bit of a tanky character, and and the moves I used the most got bonus damage from high armor. So I just stacked as much armor as possible on my main character, and I had to use a healing item occasionally, but in the last day of the game, my health was never threatened.
The game overall...
Weirdly, I would get hurt a ton, but I just did obscene damage. But I think that's part of the Thief class.
Right.
Yeah, I probably didn't do as much damage or could do as much status stuff as you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I use the stomp dive attack and the bull rush attack almost exclusively for the rest of the game.
Nice. Yeah, the game's not hard.
No, it's not. It's fun, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and the bosses can also do crazy stuff that's more funny than problematic.
Yeah.
But it's not a challenging game.
No.
The only time I died was to the Al Gore boss fight on the second day because I was underleveled.
So I was underleveled the whole game. I'm confident I beat the game underleveled. I know, whatever. But so for me the hardest thing was I had almost a reliance then on my regen, and just like my items, like my wearables, I guess. So like the underwear gnomes, like when they take away your clothes, because you don't have a chance to change into anything. Those instances are where the game got really hard for me.
Because suddenly your game-breaking build is gone.
Right, my game-breaking build's gone. I'm 2, 3 easily levels below that I'm supposed to be, and so it's like all of a sudden it's like, I have to perfect every attack, every defense.
As balls are swinging at your face.
Yeah, good old balls in the face all day.
I was not expecting those balls in the face at all.
At the end. The end of that fight.
No,
so like I
yeah.
knew all of it was coming. We even talked about it in the podcast.
Yep.
Do the fight, still like get to the point, just crack up laughing. Like
It's so funny. And it
but
heals everyone.
I can't even remember. Like there's one phrase that she says. She's like, "Again, this podcast is going to be vulgar."
Yeah.
She says something along the lines of "fuck me harder, you cocksucker" or something.
Yeah. Yes,
And I just started laughing. I lost my shit.
Just
It was
swinging
so funny.
boobs, swinging balls, like dirty talk between your parents while you're fighting an underpants gnome shaman.
Warlock.
Yes.
Warlock?
It's
Okay.
a warlock.
If this is Diablo 3, he'd be a witch doctor.
It's Hearthstone, so it's a warlock.
Oh, okay, my bad. They should add Diablo 3 classes to Hearthstone, or they should just add Diablo 3 classes to anything. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you. That whole situation, even if you knew it was coming, was just it was jaw dropping. It's hilarious. You sort of
Could
can't
make an
believe.
argument that maybe one of the people had already opened their mouth with their jaw.
Oh wow!
So,
Wow! All right, maybe I'll cut that. I don't know.
So I will. So since we've kind of been a little scattered with of our love for this final day, what did you guys think of the Girls Club?
Oh,
One of my
man.
favorite episodes ever, making it into the show.
I-
Sunshine Spark.
Sparkle.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they represented the social dynamic of girls was a little sexist, but really, really hilarious. Like how they would instantly call each other horrible things, only behind her back, and then forgive her in person later. It's
No,
And that's
it
what I
gets better
love
than
is that they
because
say it in front of her, being like, "We think she's a two-timing like slut bitch," but it's okay because we've decided to forgive her for saying sorry. I love you guys.
you guys.
no,
Oh my god.
the best was with I think it's Jessica Rodriguez. And so they're like talking about how like we need to catch this person because she's a two-faced bitch, and then she's a whore like Jessica Rodriguez, and Jessica walks up like, oh hey Jessie, like hey oh my god, and it's like
And then-
these are such
and then
two-faced bitches.
and then she friends you on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really so
Yeah.
all the segments feel so distinct, and that's the best thing
Yes.
about the girl segment is it's so. I mean, obviously, all of them are playing up stereotypes, right? But to their max degree. But it's so nice because you go to this girl council, and you've already seen two councils, and you've seen how they've been handled, and you see like the boys playing their games, and like they make it so very immensely different. That the
They nail
game's
it. They nail it
always
so.
evolving into something new and exciting.
Yeah, that whole sequence I think is great, and I think I was reading recently that was supposed to be a much bigger part of the game, but it was one of those kind of in terms of involving the girls.
They had to sort of like scale back on their ambition just so they could finish it and provide a focused experience.
Yep.
Well, that's
Because again, their vision for this game was enormous. It was too big. They wanted a Skyrim like open world RPG set in the South Park town.
Yeah.
But they had to scale it back and just to make sure that they were putting out a good game, they had to make it this 12-hour very special experience and not exactly what they wanted initially. It's remarkable that this game got made at all, and I'm so happy it did.
Yeah, that could be, I guess, be a complaint is the third day's pacing feel a little bit odd.
It's a little rushed at times in terms of how quickly you're going through stuff.
Right, and that's what if you look at the content for day 1 and 2, they feel like reasonable days to complete, whereas the quests for day 3 seem much longer, and then they've all the quests do a good job of rolling to the next one. But it felt like there was like a natural stopping point, and then you'd go to Canada, or at least like you go to Canada and then you end the day, and then you roll into like an additional day, or like it felt like there could have been more spreading of things out, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a great gag, but going through the woods to get to Canada is just kind of
That's the best.
Okay. It's like all you got to do is go north.
Chris and I were talking about this beforehand, and I was expecting him to get on an airplane because they get on airplanes in the show, and they have that
Yeah,
stupid
but
map
no,
animation.
You just have to go
Yeah.
up 4 times, and you're from
And you're in
Colorado to
Canada.
Canada.
It blew my mind. It was hilarious because I was literally expecting. I was like, all right, it's time to get on an airplane. And I know you said like you go north on the map. Somebody mentioned that at one point.
No,
Yep.
it's Kyle. He says, okay, first you go north, then take a turn north, then go north, and then you should be there.
And he goes, and yeah, you should just be there.
Or I think they have it on the map. They had it on the map.
Yeah,
from the
they have it
beginning.
just up at the top in the right-hand corner.
But I figured it would be you go up there and then there's an animation of them on an airplane or something. And so that completely caught me off guard.
And also, we should mention that like they're in Colorado. You go north 4 times, and suddenly you're in Toronto, which is
That checks out, dude.
between Michigan and New York.
Well,
Yeah, it's Ottawa all of a sudden.
they go up a couple states.
Oh, Ottawa. Right, sorry.
And then
Ottawa.
you're
That's
in
right,
Canada,
that's right.
and Canada's just one big nothingness. So it's like the same everywhere, right?
And,
I just love that
like,
Quebec is a friggin' cave.
yeah,
Montreal
well,
is an underground cave.
No, I don't know. I don't think you even go to Montreal. They just kidnapped the king of Montreal and threw him in a cave.
No, they threw him into the caverns of Montreal.
Oh, no,
that
the cavern.
cave system is
Oh, man.
Montreal.
Oh God. It's a cave system that takes up 1 room.
Exactly, it's Montreal.
And also, okay, there's 2 things about Canada. First of all, did they really have to go to Canada to translate some French? They couldn't
Yes.
find like a French teacher.
Yes.
Yes, because they need you to go to Canada.
And have you
Okay.
seen the show before? They don't allow people to speak another language in South
Yeah,
Park.
I guess so.
Except for
Mr. Wing speaks bad Chinese sometimes.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Sí, trabajo.
Oh yeah, yeah, the day laborers. That would have been a fun addition if they could fit them in somewhere. But I mean,
I think that's going to be the next game.
there's so much. There's
You
so
know
many
immigration's going to be something they're going to do for the
There's
next
PC
game.
principles in it.
Yep.
Oh, and it's
And politics.
and it's a superhero send up. It's going to be about Coon and
Coon
friends.
and Friends.
Yeah.
So excited. Mysterio.
Yeah, they're going to make fun of the Marvel Civil War storyline movies and stuff. I can't wait. I'm going to get that game way too early and then not play it until a year, just like this game. But
and then be really happy you finally played it.
yeah, but be really happy when we played it in the podcast when the game's 2 years old.
Yeah.
That's how these go.
That's how it always works.
But yeah, but anyway, the two. First of all, I think going to Canada just to translate some French is great. They having to do a bunch of RPG silly side quest BS is great.
Kill
Just to
3
get the
wolves.
translate.
Yeah.
And clear out the bears and decide whether or not to kill the priest of where was he? Was he in Winnipeg?
Banff.
Banff. Okay, sure.
Just cause.
Yeah, but do you get a bonus for letting him live? I killed him
I think I just got some equipment or a patch or something like that.
No, but I killed him and then stole his equipment.
I killed him too.
Oh yeah, so I'm sure it's the exact same thing. It's just
Okay.
you feel better about yourself. You made a
Do
choice.
you get a friend because the one thing I was worried was if you get a friend request by letting him live, and I was missing out on the friend
I
request.
gotta double check. Maybe
Alright.
actually.
Well, I mean, when I replay this game, because I think I will eventually, I'll do a little bit of research and make sure I do the best possible.
Do
You get a
100%.
Free version with the pre-order of the next one.
Oh,
It'll run better.
yeah, it will.
It will
Well,
run better.
the problem is that I don't have a PS4.
Yet.
Well, that seems like a mistake that should be remedied.
Yet.
I have to pay a mortgage, man. Come on. But anyway, we're basically
Wrong topic.
we're dancing around the most striking part of Canada is that it's an 8-bit RPG that looks like Dragon Quest II.
I thought you were going to
That's
say the most striking thing is you are supposed to cut somebody's balls off.
Oh, okay. There's that. You do have to bring someone's balls back as a trophy, which is very South Park and special. But I mean, you walk in and there's an 8-bit version of O Canada playing, and the whole thing looks like a NES game from 1988. And
It's fantastic.
But the stuff that exists as the people exist as NPCs just like normal, and even do like jokes referring to NPC repetitive dialogue.
Yep. And that a town or a whole city is represented by 2 houses, and then like the mayor's office. Speaking of which, Prince of Canada, awesome.
Yeah, man, Prince of Canada was
Such
dark.
an asshole, but so hilarious. Such a dick, shushing up his wife. Such a piece of shit. I loved it. I love how
man.
everyone just deals with him, and then he leaves the room. And they're like, "Okay, now we'll talk business."
Canadians were
you-
alternately jerks and very nice and always apologized.
Always
Totally.
apologize. Terrence and Philip teach you the final fart.
That was
I would-
fantastic.
yeah,
that
that was
such a good nod.
I like how they referred to them as the monks that live at the south end of town.
Yep.
But
And I love the animation of getting in the water on a boat
right
across the
man.
river, and the music changes. Oh, it's just great.
Oh god, I would have liked this game if all of it was 8-bit nonsense like Canada.
Yeah.
If they just had,
They ever did a downloadable game, just like a $20 bite-sized game.
yeah, jeez, just do it like that and have them go across America doing something, or I don't care. Like I would play a full-length 8-bit version of a game like that.
Dude, I would play an Oregon Trail variant of South Park if Matt and Trey wrote it.
Especially now that they have a full video game under their belt, they know how to properly set expectations and how to write for one.
Yeah, I mean, sky's the limit. They can do whatever the hell they want.
I hope they continue making more games after the Fractured Butthole.
I think they will because this game did so well. You know, and not that it exactly completely did gangbusters in terms of
No, but it was
ever, but it did well.
It was definitely a critical success, and I
think people who played it, yeah, it definitely sold all right, and people who played it, it stuck with them.
Yeah.
And
on a lot of top
gamers
10s
are
at
a
the end of the
hardcore
year.
crowd. Exactly, gamers are a hardcore crowd, so I'm sure they heard a lot of how much people loved the game. And since they are gamers, I'm sure they were like, "This is awesome. Let's keep going."
I think it exceeded expectations. Like we talked about during the last podcast, with
Yeah.
how troubled it was to get it out.
Yeah.
I think both expectations from the publishers and also just the general audience had been dampened, I guess is a nice way to put it. And so I think if it hadn't gone through that, I think there's a much better chance of it selling well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people got gun shy. Like you look at the other South Park games, which are terrible. I mean, like everything that this went
I
through,
remember.
like,
I remember playing an N64 one that was just
Many, and they were so bad.
a couple dialogue clips from the show. And
that tower
and
game.
no, I don't think so.
No,
it
that-
was
that
like
would-
it was like a quiz show that Mr. Garrison hosted, or
Oh, I was wondering if it would be the FPS one. That was that
I might
really
be.
awful N64 FPS.
no. I'm thinking of the quiz one, but
Like snowball fight one.
no.
Yeah.
I'm probably misremembering this, but there were some bad.
No, there were a
South Park
bunch on
games.
N64, and they were terrible. They were all bad.
But like we talked about last episode, there was no reason that anybody should have thought this was going to be good. I mean, and then, so I think a lot of people got caught off guard, and so I think the second one, this is where it kind of explodes into a much bigger thing. And so I'd be shocked if they didn't do at least a couple more after this.
Yeah, and even if they mess up game mechanics, if the writing's good, and by the way, I don't think they will mess up mechanics. They did a good job with Stick of Truth and going forward.
Mhm.
I like the more adding a little bit more of a strategy RPG element to Fractured Butthole, but there's definitely, as long as the writing's there, it could be a shitty game, and it would still be great because it's South Park. Like that's at the core. If the writing's good, you can excuse a lot of issues and still have fun with it. It's just such a wonderful bonus that the game is actually fun to play.
And that raises sort of another question to me. Do you need to be a South Park fan to enjoy this game?
No.
Because I would say if you actively dislike South Park and its humor and other parts of it, then this game is not for you.
Yes,
but
then it's hard.
But if you don't really know anything about South Park but could enjoy this kind of puerile, occasionally gross humor, I think you would still enjoy this game. You'd be a little
Cutting
puzzled.
down walls of literal cum in a man's
in a man's small intestine.
and
You find a dildo sword in there as well. But the humor in it, even when it's not just referencing South Park, is so funny. And
Yes.
we mentioned this in the previous episode. A lot of it's gameplay humor that wouldn't work really in another joke. Like finding a dildo sword in a dungeon up a man's ass is not something that really makes sense in a different medium.
Or even just like the choices of the pedophile sequence where you're like, I'm not going to take my shirt off. I'm not going to take my shirt off. I'm not going to take my shirt off. And then the only option is take shirt off. And you're like, God damn it.
Off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they got to take underwear off, and that's when it got stopped. And I was like,
right at the end of the line.
Yeah.
But they're not shy about showing a man's naked body in this game either.
Nope.
Either whether it's your dad or the general at the end. Yeah. But and then also at the girl when you finally have free reign to move around the girl's base, you can buy armor from from the shopkeeper there, and one of it's Valkyrie armor that barely covers you at all. But in terms of defense, it's somehow the second or third best armor in the game.
Yeah,
that's just general logic. That's how things
work.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right?
That's video game
logic.
Yes,
as long as you cover.
As
long as you cover your pectorals and your privates, then you're totally protected.
Everything is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that matters.
Well, you got to be able to move. You can't have these funky armor hanging.
Mm-hmm. Like... that's a lot of freedom of movement there.
Mobility. It's all about mobility.
Mm-hmm. Gotta make it light. Don't want to get over encumbered.
I bought that fairy outfit and the Valkyrie outfit, and I put on the Valkyrie one first, and then that's what I played with for the rest of the game until they gave me the best set for your class.
I'm boring, and I had part of my strategy was stacking up armor. So for the last several segments, I used the crab people armor the rest of the game.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Crab
people. Oh,
God,
crab people.
Yeah, no.
Taste like crab.
Look like people. It's true. But with this game, about anyone liking it, I really think that this is a wonderful game to suggest to a friend if they are not really big into this genre, RPGs. Like, I think that this is now a pretty good gold standard with a lot of classics like the SNESs and PS1 and NES RPGs, where you can be like, you, new person, I know you say you don't like RPGs or they're intimidating, try this one. Like, this game is kind of an RPG gateway drug.
It's not too long, which is nice.
Nope.
It's also so instead of a gateway, I'd almost call it's a perfect summer game.
Yes, I say gateway drug because we have 100-hour RPGs.
Yeah.
And if we get people involved in that,
I don't even know if that's fair. I don't even just like, here, play this 12-hour game. Oh, now play this 150-hour game.
Exactly.
You have to do it on a curve and just have them slowly work up to your Xenoblade Chronicles X's, but start them out with your Stick of Truth and your Chrono Trigger.
12 hours is so friendly for an RPG length. It's so
I beat this game in I think 3 sittings, but that's because I'm a no-lifer who sometimes plays these 100-hour RPGs.
I think mine was 4. Yeah, it was 3 or 4. I can't remember. So,
I did 3.
It is just one of those things. It is very consumable.
It's a weekend game, so I like your idea of a summer game because it really is. I don't want to do shit this weekend. I had a long week. I just want to laugh and have fun.
Yeah.
And comfortably in 2 days, you could beat this game and still go out and do other stuff.
Yeah. Not feel guilty and
exactly.
Still get no benefit. And
I know that game rentals aren't really a thing anymore, but this would have been like a perfect 5-day game rental.
Yeah.
Because you would have been able to finish it comfortably without having to renew it, and it's funny. It's not overly challenging. It does some things that no other games do.
But it also has that fun quality of Uncharted's or some other, or even Last of Us in certain section with a lot of it, where it's a game that I would consider, talking about the rental era, that I would have beaten it, and I probably, if I knew I had a friend coming over one weekend, I would have rented it again to be like, you need to see this now.
Yeah, it would be funny to, being in my situation where I've played the game once now, if I had a friend who hadn't played it,
yeah,
I got them to play it and have them choose a class that I didn't choose.
And watch their experience.
And then just watch them play it. That would be awesome.
Yeah, because you're getting all the material, the well-written, fun material. So it's like rewatching an episode. Mm-hmm. But you could see new choices be made, or new skills, or how do you tackle that fight. And I think it would be a lot of fun.
And I mean, it's sort of the converse of the question I asked about 5 minutes ago. If you are a South Park fan, then I think this is a must-play game, whether you like RPGs or not.
Well, it's not even if you don't like video games. I know the chances of somebody listening to this podcast that doesn't like video games and doesn't like RPGs is low. But like
Impossible.
We've talked about this many times. This is just an additional episode. It's an extended episode.
It's an additional season.
Yeah. Season's even better.
It's like a mini series, like a 5 or 6 episode special or something.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely excellent.
You can play this without understanding how to use two sticks. You don't need reaction times for the most part. You just need to understand in very, very general cases of I need to tap, I need to attack, I should defend, I should heal.
And it's pretty well communicated how to play and how to win.
And it ramps up in a decent manner that I think even if you're not super familiar or you're like a lapsed gamer, that it would be very easy to pick up. Whereas like, hey, you haven't played something since the NES, why don't you play Geometry Wars? See how you do.
But if you have a moral issue murdering aborted Nazi baby fetuses,
what's wrong with
then I'm just saying we're talking about hypotheticals here, Josh.
There's no hypotheticals in the Nazi world. It's not okay.
It's very fair.
It's not okay. Oh, not okay. Also, best call in the game when the doctor.
Best what?
The best call in the game when the doctor's like, "It's not over yet. It's not over yet." Khloe Kardashian came in.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And had the biggest abortion I've ever seen.
And everyone, the best part is when he said Chloe. Immediately, the first time I played this, I was like, "Oh no! Oh please no!" And then the monster comes to the wall. Like,
gigantic Nazi zombie fetus.
This is happening. This right now is what we're doing.
And again, it's just one of those like unnecessary touches, but it just makes it like so perfect.
I think about, when we discussed 6 Days to Air last time, but just them doing the lines of offensive stuff in the booth, just cracking each other up because they know how ridiculous and dumb what they're doing is, and just having a blast.
Fantastic.
You writing that, like sending in that script to another team to then animate at Obsidian, you know that they must have just been smiling, being like, they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
Like, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they recorded them themselves or if they actually ripped audio from from Nazi propaganda video or something.
Oh, that's ripped.
It is ripped. Okay.
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. That choice of sample is just hysterical.
Especially when it's said after you bludgeon someone in the head and they're bleeding, or they vomit from being grossed out, and then then shout out some stuff.
Or if it's like a rat or a fetus that has the Nazi zombie virus.
The feral cat.
Yeah, they use the same Achtungs.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard once because I didn't go to the movie theater at all, and on the last day, towards the very end of the game, I happened to go to the movie. I'm like, oh, there's stuff in here, so I'm wandering around, and first of all, the trailers for the movies while you're in there are hilarious, but
its ass is a fire.
Yeah. As I walk out, all of a sudden can I buy a ticket or something? And I click on it. I'm like, it's a zombie Nazi working in this booth. And he just screamed out at me, and nothing happens other than him screaming at me.
Yeah, no, on the first 2 days he doesn't let you in the movie theater because you're a kid. And it's an R-rated movie, but he became a zombie by the 3rd day, and that's why you can explore the theater.
So.
Oh, that's awesome! I completely whiffed on that. That's so good.
I was wandering around to get a box, and all of a sudden I started listening to the trailers that were playing, and I just stopped, stood in there, and just listened to them, just laughing the whole time. They're ridiculous.
They're the best.
And they didn't have to do that either. That's a detail that a lot of people will miss because there's not really anything important by the movie theater, and it only is accessible on the 3rd day.
Which by then you're fast traveling, and you've already been told you can't go there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's that's an Easter egg, and they didn't have to make several funny trailers to show in the background, but they totally did. There's a lot of craft and care in this game, even though it's about farts. Farts and a fantasy RPG and a fantasy RPG. And speaking of fantasy RPG stuff, the Dovahkiin Dragonborn stuff at the very end.
Yes.
I didn't realize it was going to be that explicit a reference to Skyrim, but it's
they say it a few times at the beginning of the game, and then they kind of let it go for a while of saying Dovahkiin straight to your face, and then at the end,
they call you a dragon. They call you the Dragonborn right at the beginning.
The Dragonborn must have farted on a princess's balls.
Yeah, I love how that's the one guy's like, It's like, oh, Daddy, you're back to normal. Yes, I guess the Novocaine had farted on someone's balls. You're like, how does everyone know this rule?
And
the gentleman's agreement? You can't break that.
Morgan Freeman stepping out just to explain why Princess Kenny betrayed them with a an orc marrying an elf story with zero foreshadowing. And
then I love when it cuts to all the kids, and even the new kid's mouth is wide open. Like, why the fuck is Morgan Freeman standing there?
but they
that
still
is
seem
my
to
favorite
accept
visual gag at the end. It's just even the new kid going, "What is happening?"
They seem to accept it, and they even like the explanation. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like,
oh, totally, of course.
It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Even though there's a government agent naked there holding the stick.
Yeah, who goes... Also, that transition is fantastic. Him explaining to you about that you're the fastest person at getting friends, and then being like, wait, what is this? A stick? Well, whoever has the stick of truth controls the universe. Ha 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 ha. He just goes nuts. Like, all right, that was a great transition.
Yeah, it escalated, that's for sure.
Totally earned. It's really natural in its progression there. He's just naked, fucking... Oh god, it's just phenomenal.
Everything about this game, I thought that, that they were following a set of rules and wouldn't go too out of hand, and then they would just take it a step further, over and over.
No, that's what's great. Thinking about what they can do going forward is they kind of already went to most of the extremes they could do. Not all of them, but they already covered.
You say
a
that?
lot of those.
Yeah. Do you view that as a challenge for game 2, or do you think we're
No,
going to be disappointed
I
if
think
they
it's
can't
actually
go as
great.
much?
I think it's great because I do think that there's still a lot that can be done, especially when it comes more to commentary and not gross out humor. So there's a lot of offensive stuff that's still out there for them to do.
Yeah.
But the fact, I just mean more in the sense of they already got away with a lot with this game. They did it in a good, to me, again, fan of the show, take that worth its weight in salt, but they made a game that has a ton of offensive humor already in it, and they won. Most people liked it. It sold well. It got made, and it was well loved. Like, now they have the ability to go that much farther. So if they want to, and they don't have to, and that's the other thing, they don't have to. They could just make another great season of the show in a game, and it could actually be a little bit more tame.
What was the rating?
And that would still be wonderful. Oh, M.
Was it
Very M?
It would have to be M.
Heavy M.
Is there a
Heavy
rating
M.
above M?
There's no bleeping out of any
X,
swear.
but then you can't sell it anywhere.
No, and it's not. I don't think they hit AO or anything like that kind of.
Oh yeah, AO is the one after M. Right, that's right. Mm-hmm. I forgot.
No. Okay.
It's R versus X for the game stuff. But no. I mean,
I just don't see them though taking a step back and calming down to it.
No, they won't. But
no, it's
that's what I mean is that we're going to just be surprised by what the F moment they come up with next.
Yeah, I think that these writers are good enough, and now, especially now that they know how to make a game, that they're not gonna make the Fractured Butthole a more restrained experience. It's going. If anything, they know that what they did worked, and they're gonna go a little bigger.
That's what I mean. It's like they should have no fear about what they can do now.
I'm calling it now, just off the top of my head.
All right.
Oh no.
They go back in time.
Somehow, okay. Little flashpoint theory. Okay.
Somehow you become a sperm in your dad. You impregnate your mom with yourself.
To guarantee that you're, you know what? I really wish that this idea isn't viable, but I strongly believe that this might happen.
Okay, now that we're on this
I'm looking at this and it says, an outrageous RPG adventure. Manipulate time and space. Time.
Oh yeah, you do have one of your farts, because they were talking about how they could, how do you escalate fart powers in those, the age-old RPG trope of, you did this whole game and became king, and then in the next game, you lose all your powers. Which they deal with here by you showing up in a king outfit, and Cartman makes fun of you for being a tool, still playing that old game.
Also, I think you're ostensibly the same character, but you can make a girl character in the second one. So,
yeah.
But you are still the same new kid.
Yeah, they might throw in a Caitlyn Jenner joke or something in there if you decide to change genders.
Yeah, they probably will.
They seem to really enjoy Caitlyn Jenner on this last season, so that will not be surprising.
Well, I think that they were more obsessed with the whole incident with her running someone over and no one talking about it. That's what they were obsessed with specifically.
Not her eyes?
Well, that definitely became a part of it.
So, I mean, Josh gave us a slightly outrageous, but not outrageous in the context of what this game does, prediction for the new one. Chris, do you have a similar idea?
Lord.
Do you care to prognosticate?
I'm trying to think of... I think we're going to have Cthulhu again. I don't think that's going to be a hard assumption. I just don't know if Cthulhu is going to be like a summon type thing, or if you have to do stuff for Cthulhu and become his minion. And either way, I'm super excited because I want to have that super positive, upbeat Cartman song of hanging out with Cthulhu playing while there's destruction of some major city in the background.
I still think those are the best episodes. With
those are great episodes.
Going to DP.
Yeah, and Captain Hindsight.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Hindsight.
I think Captain Hindsight as a boss battle would be a lot of fun.
And then as soon as you beat him, he says,
he should have done something. Yeah.
I should have seen this coming.
Yeah, exactly.
What I want is now I love tokusatsu shows, which are like cheesy special effects, Godzilla, Ultraman kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a battle of giants between Cthulhu and Mecha Streisand.
I was about to say I think that's actually a very safe bet that we get Mecha Streisand this time.
That would be like a last third of the game special fight that I would enjoy very much. And if not Mecha Streisand, maybe a giant version of Cartman dressed up as Asimo instead would be good. Because also I should mention 2 of my favorite episodes did not really have many references in this game: the Scott Tenorman episode and the Asimo episode. And there's definitely enough South Park for them to make a ton more referential humor in the next game. Even though Stick of Truth was chock full of it, but they still have plenty of episodes to mine for material. I mean, Pip wasn't in this game. Pip, the shittiest character in history. Pip and Towley are the 2 worst South Park characters, and we didn't see much of either of them.
I love that there's a whole Pip episode.
It's like the worst episode.
Expectations, and it's Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah. One of the best British voices possible.
Just sitting there in a chair, basically acting like a crazy person. Like, this man must be so cool in real life.
Pip would be a swerve of a final boss in the next game. Or maybe he could just be a punching bag that you kick the shit out of once.
Also, the fact that Clyde didn't realize that that green sauce wasn't green sauce, but toxic too. And they actually have a breakdown argument, being like, "No, they've had green sauce for a while now." And everyone's like, "Are you serious?
Oh, you're right. That was such a good aside. Oh man,
Cartman getting upset at himself for not realizing he could get takeaway green sauce from Taco Bell.
But it was only from certain Taco Bells, not like every Taco Bell.
Not every Taco Bell. Ah, damn it.
They talk about it for like slightly too long, which is the exact right amount of time.
And even Clyde's like, yeah, they have green sauce.
Man, making the Clyde betrayal was a really cool plot moment, and the Nazi zombie chef was an amazing plot moment. And then they somehow kept outdoing themselves and they ended up with the Chekhov's gun of farting on someone's balls.
Yep. Yes, they did.
The final line of the game is the new kid, not speaking a word the whole game, says, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
Going home, yeah.
So much of this game was so South Park and so perfect.
And I love every time, especially in the 3rd day, when there were those moments of, "What do you have to say for yourself, new kid?" Or, "What does the new kid think?"
He doesn't say much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's not really much for talking.
And he doesn't really say anything, but all of the girls seem to be attracted to him.
Yep.
Because he's
really
cool
hot.
side.
Yeah, exactly. He's not saying anything to us. That's attractive. And then, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." And they all look at him just stunned, like, "He can't speak." I just also love how your dad hates you.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Your dad won't even friend you on Facebook until you have 30 friends or something.
Yeah, and he's always just talking about how you kind of suck and need to do things.
Oh, man. I want another game that employs social media in such a fun way like this.
What would they do though? I mean, because it's one of those things that they did Facebook. I mean, do you do Twitter? I mean,
No, I think you stick with Facebook going forward. I feel like they're gonna keep it the same unless they create.
They don't have to make a new system.
Well, they did have that Alec Baldwin episode where they replaced Twitter with shitter.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
So they could sneak that in somehow.
We could have audio diaries then.
Yeah, audio diaries.
Twitter audio diaries
of Alec Baldwin speaking directly into your brain.
If they did go back in time, it'd be funny if they made it MySpace.
Oh
yeah, that'd be great.
No, that'd be great. Just have like most of the game have Facebook be your main menu scene, but then when you go back in time, it's MySpace instead of Facebook.
It's just shitty videos everywhere.
Yeah.
Music videos everywhere.
Oh god.
There's so much they can do.
Like 5 songs come on every time you change the page.
Yeah, jeez. Just like, please stop, go away, bad band, go away. Congratulations that you are also playing in your garage. And then E-Bombs World.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know what they would. I feel like it's just easier to stick with Facebook because it's a good system.
Mm. It was implemented brilliantly.
It's so great.
I loved all the Facebook stuff. Yeah. The only time I didn't like the Facebook stuff was, I mentioned this last episode, was when I finished the Al Gore quest too early, and he sent me a Facebook message every 30 seconds until I beat him, which was a lot. Which was most of the second day. So
shouldn't have been trying to be an overachiever, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've been told ever since I was
underleveled the whole game, like I was.
And isn't that great that they actually, in a weird way, punished you for trying to be a completionist?
Yeah, a little
by
bit.
doing that. Again, it's just those little gameplay FUs that they have throughout that are wonderful.
I mean, there's regular jokes and there's also gameplay jokes that were just
it's other
awesome.
It's other level clever.
Like,
and
why can't more games be like this?
I was telling Josh, there's a new like behind the scenes little 6-7 minute featurette that just released online for Fractured Butthole, and it feels when you, and granted, of course, they're talking to a camera, so if they're miserable, they're playing it up like everything's hunky dory. But it definitely does seem like that they take. There's one moment where I think it's Trey is talking about gameplay jokes, and it makes him, and he's so excited and loves the fact that they can make those kind of in-game jokes through mechanics, and we talked about it last episode, in that it's funny because they make everyone laugh through their writing all the time, but clearly they take pride in those moments of being like, okay, how can we screw with people and what they expect? Not just story, but those little mechanics, and that it makes them that happy, I think is awesome. Just to be like, okay, try to save Randy. Do it.
Oh, man. I don't know exactly where they'll go from here with the next game, but I can't wait to find out.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, they could do any genre going forward, but hopefully it'll be RPGs. God, it's just too fun. God. Yeah, I mean...
So do we have anything else to talk... What else do we have to talk about? Does anyone have something they want to bring up?
I guess, just for posterity's sake, I will say only frustration for me, especially going through the second time, is, at least on console, when you're learning farts...
Oh,
for the first time, it is so finicky.
I hate learning farts.
Yeah, it was the third fart, the sneaky squeaker or whatever. That one
amount of time.
That one took me a little too long to learn to finish that mini game.
That was infuriating.
I guess anytime they teach you anything or go over any sort of instructions, it's really piss poor because they just restart the sequence.
Yep.
The basic combat stuff where Cartman has you beating up Clyde or the diabetic kid or whatever. Those aren't that bad for tutorials, but the fart stuff was really annoying.
I forgot about Scott Malkinson, and now I'm happy again.
That's his name, Scott Malkinson.
I'm Scott Malkinson. Diabetes is both a blessing and a curse, but really
it's mostly a curse.
It's my favorite line of the whole game. I love it so much.
I don't know if I have a favorite line. It's just I loved the Facebook messages. I would just scroll through and read old Facebook messages. They were so funny.
Yeah, the back and forth trolling. And again, it's like you said, they don't need to do that, but they did. And they care so much. Ugh.
Real good.
So clearly we hate this game. No one should play it. It should never, ever, ever, ever be played by humans.
Yeah, it's funny. That's literally our worst complaint.
Yeah, it's just that
Learning
tutorial
to fart.
sections are annoying.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really it for me. Yeah, load times on consoles are a little bit worse than on PC. But God, it's just so joyous. The best. The best. You get to walk into a room and hear the Cow's Mom's a Bitch song. Like, what else do you want?
Zombie cows as well.
Man.
Yes.
Zombie cows.
Zombie cows.
Well, yeah, the kamikazes were really, really difficult. Like one of
That's right.
there was during that whole barn segment, which is I think Jimmy's side quest. You if I had a lot of health, and if you don't defend at least 2 of those cow attacks, then you will die because it did enormous damage. But I didn't die from it, but I got to to double digits of health, which was really concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kamikazes.
And also having just knowing that Butters can pat you on the back to make you heal.
It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, buddy.
There.
Keep
It'll
going,
be
little
okay.
buddy. Or beating someone going, guess I got a new bottom, bitch. Like, just all those little details. It's just the best.
Oh, right, the Butters Pimp episode.
Exactly.
Oh man, he would give his hose gold stars.
Yeah, that's actually the one line they didn't have from Butters in this game that I'm expecting to hear in the next game is, yes, I do know what you are saying. Yes, I do believe that I know what you are saying.
Oh, that was a great episode. But so guys, you think this was a great episode of Retro Encounter?
It's okay.
Yeah, it was serviceable.
All right, serviceable.
Successful. No, it was fun. It was good.
Hopefully, all of you out there will give us better reviews when you go on to iTunes or whatever you're listening to this on.
No, please give us a 5-star review and just write serviceable in the description.
Average at best. Adequate.
Mediocre.
Average, 5 stars.
5 stars.
Non-hateful waste of time.
Average.
5 stars. We would love to average 5 stars.
There's. Never mind.
Good jokes. A lot.
As always, you can also send us emails at retro@rpgfan.com, or you can go to rpgfan.com and go on the boards and get involved in the conversation there. I'd be super interested to hear what everybody's favorite lines or moments were, what really caught you off guard. Hopefully, you guys played it before you listen to this. If not,
search out some fun little Easter eggs.
If not, send us a message on Twitter or Facebook when this is posted about your favorite South Park episode or South Park moment. We will take any feedback or reaction that we get.
Mark,
we read all of them.
Mike's hard up for something, so throw him a bone.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of emails in the Retro Encounter email address.
But yeah, so that's gonna do it for us here. We got Valkyria Chronicles coming next month.
Woot.
That is a hell of a game.
Yeah, it's a really, really good game. I'm super excited to see where the conversation goes with that. And then we're in the final stages and should have an announcement coming out soon about what we're going to be playing in September. The game I want to win is slowly winning, so I'm ecstatic.
Should we tell them about the special and episode that we have next week?
Do you want to ruin it? I'm fine with that.
Well, it's not going to really ruin it because the people just have to wait a week and then they can hear about it. It's building hype.
We've been building the hype for 6 months for this episode. Sure, go ahead.
Okay,
take it away, Mike.
Me? All right. Okay. Next week we have the first part of a 2-part episode. It's called the Essential 10, and it's where 4 panelists on Retro Encounter. Josh and I are 2 of them. Each made a top 10 list of our favorite RPGs. And with a 5th top 10 list thrown in there as well. So we take this giant list of 45 games and try to pare that down to a list of 10 must-play RPGs for any RPG fan. And we argue, we say mean things to each other. I'm not sure I'm friends with Peter anymore.
Friendships have been sullied.
Yeah, exactly. So you can listen to us argue over 2 episodes starting next week.
Yeah.
and it's even though maybe some friendships are not as intact as they once were, it was a lot of fun to record.
You had bad luck with games that you liked being picked.
Yeah, no, I made some poor decisions with the choices of games I made to defend and cut at the beginning.
I ninja'd the hell out of my process thus far. I am.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
like Josh and Peter and Marco snuck in a bunch of garbage across, but I was less successful.
Oh wow!
But it was a lot of fun recording that episode, and you can hear the first segment of that next week.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because a lot of times we only talk about 1, maybe 2, 3 games in conjunction with that game. We're talking about it's like 45 or 46 games that we're talking about.
It was right around 45, and we knocked them down to 20 in the first episode, and then down to 10 in the second episode.
And we're listing them out. We're literally going to have our number 1 game, which will be fun. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, the ranking part of it is. I don't know if I like that.
Dangerous.
No, it's gonna be stupid.
But the great thing is that we're spending at least a decent amount of time on each game. We're mentioning our games, and so it's just fun to kind of hear varied thoughts that we wouldn't normally get on the podcast. So
yeah, you hear our thoughts at varying levels of detail on 45 different games.
Even if some of those Destiny is a fantastic game.
I don't understand you kids that like Destiny and Kingdom Hearts. That's just wrong.
All right. We're not there yet. I'm excited to hear this episode, especially because, to your point, it's always fun to hear why people hold on to a certain game as one of their favorites.
Like Twilight Princess. Let's be honest, it's a terrible game. Shouldn't even been part of the episode.
Why are we are not recording that episode right now?
No, we're not,
gentlemen.
So we really appreciate everybody listening.
Positivity.
Get excited for the stuff that we have coming out. We have some really cool stuff planned. We hope you guys enjoy it.
Yep. So, and coming after this is Essential 10 and Valkyria Chronicles.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, keep listening, keep enjoying. We'd love to hear what you guys think.
Goodbye, everybody.
Fuck you guys, I'm going home.
私の